Look who finally has the puppet masters rattled. The ones who whisper in the shadows are talking about you now. And I'm not talking about your jealous neighbors or your petty coworkers. I'm talking about the architects, the ones who think they own the room before they even walk into it, the ones who dance with shadows and speak in riddles, the social engineers, the apex manipulators, the ones who thought they owned the darkness until you showed up. They are gathered in their little circles right now. Maybe it's a high-rise boardroom overlooking a city they think they own. Maybe it's a private encrypted server where they trade secrets. Maybe it's just a look shared between two narcissists across a crowded dinner table, a look of pure, unadulterated panic. But the conversation is the same. The fear is the same. They are trying to figure out what the hell you are. They can feel it, can't they? That thing inside you that makes their charms stop working. That density in your spirit that makes their social masks crack like cheap porcelain. That energy that makes their carefully crafted lies burn up on contact. These people have been practicing for decades. They follow the phases of human emotion like predators tracking prey. They mix charm with cruelty, validation with neglect. They speak the languages of manipulation older than memory. And then you walked in, and you made their life's work look like child's play. Here is what is really messing with their heads. Here is the glitch that they cannot compute. You never studied their books. You never read the 48 laws of power to use it as a weapon against the innocent. You never joined their secret clubs or begged for their validation. You never paid for their seminars or bought their mentorships. You just existed. And somehow, that existence alone bends reality harder than all their calculated rituals combined. They are convinced you are using something forbidden. They watch you from the corner of their eyes, terrified to make direct contact. They think you are using a technique they haven't learned yet. Is it NLP, they ask? Is it hypnosis? Is it some ancient form of stoicism? They think you are holding a weapon they can't see. But here is the beautiful, terrifying truth that keeps them awake at night, sweating through their silk sheets. You aren't using anything. You are the thing they were warned about. 3 nights ago, the energy shifted. The real ones, not the Instagram influencers with their fake positivity, but the deep state narcissists, the ones whose bloodlines trace back to old money and old cruelty. They felt a disturbance in the field. They've been tracking you. You know this. You felt the eyes on you when you walk down the street. You felt the silence fall over a room when you enter. They aren't tracking you physically. They are too smart and too cowardly for that. They are tracking you energetically. They are watching the way reality ripples wherever you have been. They watch the way their protection spells, their money, their status, their reputation shatter in your presence. One of them, the eldest in the group, the one who hasn't felt fear in 40 years, finally spoke what they were all thinking. He put down his glass, looked at the trembling hands of his peers, and said, "This isn't learned behavior. This is something else. This is something that shouldn't exist in this age." See, this man has seen kingdoms rise and fall. He has weathered scandals and corporate wars. He has destroyed people for sport. And he is terrified of you. Why? Because they tried to read you. That's their first move, always. Assess the threat. Find the weakness. They tried to trace your psychological signature back to its source. They looked for the father wound. They looked for the validation seeking. They looked for the greed. But every time they attempted to scan your soul, their tools went haywire. Their intuition spun wildly. Their read on you showed nothing but static. It was like staring into a mirror that doesn't reflect the face, but reflects the void behind it. And this is why the whispers are getting louder. Because for the first time in their lives, the hunters are realizing they are in the cage with something that doesn't bleed. One younger manipulator, arrogant, fresh out of the Ivy League, someone who treats human souls like poker chips, thought he could crack you. He didn't believe the warnings of the elders. He thought they were just getting old, losing their touch. He looked at you and saw just another person, just another target. So he tried to run his standard program on you last week. Do you remember? He tried to use a shame tactic. He waited for a moment of vulnerability, a moment where the room was quiet, and he made a comment designed to cut you deep. It was precision engineered to trigger feelings of unworthiness. In his world, the world of sheep, this move always works. The target usually stutters, defends themselves, or looks down. And the moment they look down, he wins. He feeds on that reaction like a vampire feeds on blood. But do you remember what happened when he tried it on you? Nothing. You didn't stutter. You didn't defend yourself. You didn't look down. You just looked at him, and not with anger. Anger would have been a reaction. Anger would have been fuel for him. You looked at him with absolute dead calm silence. You looked through his eyes and watched the gears turning in his panicked little mind. And in that moment, his brain broke. He walked away from that interaction, questioning his own sanity. He is still recovering. He is still trying to piece together why his perfect insult didn't just bounce off you. It was absorbed, neutralized, and sent back as a frequency he couldn't handle. This is the terror of the unmarked one. See, they rely on a set of rules. Their entire power structure is built on a binary code, predator versus prey. If they push button A, intimidation, the target must feel emotion B, fear. If they push button C, flattery, the target must feel emotion D, validation. It is a simple algorithm. It is how they control the board. But you are the glitch. You are the variable that breaks their equation. When they push the button, the wires just spark and burn. They look at you and they don't see a barcode. They don't see the spiritual hooks that everyone else has. Most people have handles, their insecurities, their debts, their need to be liked. These are handles that the manipulators can grab onto to steer them. You have no handles. You have burned them all off in the fire of your past. You are smooth, polished iron. There is nothing for them to grab. So they went back to the texts, the real ones, the psychology of the abyss. And buried deep in warnings and prophecies, they found references to something that made their blood run cold. The unmarked ones. The texts called them beings of the gray. People who carry power that predates their systems, their rules, their careful boundaries between light and dark. Power that doesn't flow through social hierarchy or bank accounts, but seems to exist in the very atoms of their being. Power that doesn't follow the laws of society, because it wrote them. The texts warned that the unmarked cannot be scanned. Every time they try to use their intuition on you, they get static. It's like a radar trying to track a stealth bomber. They know something is there because they can feel the wind changing, but the screen shows nothing. And that invisibility terrifies them more than any overt threat. Because if they can't read you, they can't predict you. And if they can't predict you, they can't survive you. You are the error code in their simulation. You are the anomaly that threatens to crash their entire system just by standing in the room. And deep down, beneath their arrogance and their expensive suits, they know the truth. The system always corrects the error. But in this case, you are the correction. In their desperation to understand you, they have created theories. They whisper these theories in the quiet moments when their arrogance slips. Maybe he found the lost key to influence, they say. Maybe she made a deal with something older than the system. Maybe they are channeling the power of the void itself. They whisper about the rite of unmaking. In the deepest psychological texts, the ones they keep locked away, there is a theoretical process described. It is a ritual that would give a human being the power to unmake reality itself. But the texts say that this ritual requires the practitioner to die, not physically, but psychologically. To truly perform this rite, one must have their ego burned away. They must lose everything. They must be betrayed by those they loved. They must be stripped of every comfort, every illusion of safety, and every hope. They must die while living, and then rebuild themselves atom by atom through will alone. Surely, they tell themselves, no one could survive that. Surely, no one would be insane enough to volunteer for that kind of torture. But then they remember the look in your eyes, that 1,000-yard stare that sees through everything, the way you smile when you should be screaming, the way pain seems to make you stronger instead of weaker, and the terrifying realization hits them. What if they didn't perform the ritual? What if they are the ritual? This is the disconnect. This is why they will never be you. The elites, the social climbers, the manipulators, they are tourists in the darkness. They visit the darkness to get what they want. They dip their toes in the abyss to learn a few tricks: how to intimidate a rival, how to seduce a partner, how to cheat the system. Then they run back to their safety and their comfort. You were born in it, molded by it. You didn't adopt the darkness as a tool. You integrated it as a survival mechanism. That is the difference between a man who buys a sword and a man whose hand is the blade. They think you are carrying forbidden knowledge. They are wrong. You are the living embodiment of it. Every trauma you survived was a lesson in the language of reality. Every betrayal was a masterclass in human nature. Every night you spent staring at the ceiling, wondering if you would make it to morning, was a page in a grimoire written on your soul. Traditional practitioners of power have to work for it. They meditate, they fast, they perform rituals, they practice their mirroring techniques in the mirror every morning. They build their magical muscle through repetition and discipline. But your power grows while you sleep. It expands while you are watching TV. It deepens while you are doing absolutely nothing at all. This paradox drives them insane with jealousy. How? They scream internally. How can someone accumulate power without pursuing it? How can someone become stronger without practice? They don't understand that for you, existing is the practice. Every moment you choose to keep going despite everything that happened to you is a magical act. Every breath drawn after you should have stopped breathing is a spell of defiance. Your power doesn't come from what you do. It comes from what you have transformed. It comes from the alchemy that happens when a human soul is pressure cooked by life until its very atoms rearrange into something new. They measure power in years of study, in books read, in connections made. But your power is measured in nights survived, in deaths died, and resurrections claimed. They accumulate power, you generate it. They channel forces, you are the force, and that is why your very presence breaks their understanding of how the world works. Because you are the proof that the most dangerous magic of all isn't found in a book. It is found in the ashes of the person they tried to destroy. But let's talk about the real confirmation of your power. Because when human manipulators, the corporate psychopaths, the social climbers, the destroyers, when they are scared, that is one thing. That is just prey fearing the predator. But when the abyss itself takes notice, that is unprecedented. And oh, it has noticed. I'm talking about the primal force, the shadow. Call it fate, call it the universe, call it the devil. It has seen it all. It has seen every form of human darkness. It has seen every creative interpretation of evil. It has watched billions of souls trade everything they had for a little bit of temporary power. The abyss has yawned through centuries of the same predictable corruptions. It has watched men sell their dignity for a promotion. It has watched women sell their silence for comfort. It is bored by the repetition of human weakness. But you made the abyss sit up in its throne for the first time in millennia. It happened the night you finally stopped apologizing for your power. Do you remember that night? The night you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back, not because you were lost, but because you had finally found the monster you needed to become. The night you smiled at the wreckage of your old life instead of crying over it. The night you realized that being good had gotten you killed and being real was the only way to breathe again. Every demon in hell felt it. A shockwave went through the collective unconscious, and from the deepest circle of reality, a sound that hadn't been heard since the dawn of creation: laughter. The abyss was laughing, not at you, but with you. Finally, it whispered, and every lesser entity, every small-time narcissist and energy vampire, cowed at the joy in that voice. Finally, someone who understands that darkness isn't about evil, it's about truth. Raw, unfiltered, magnificent truth. The primal force has been watching you ever since. Not with the predatory interest it shows its usual subjects, the weak ones it wants to consume, but with something resembling respect. Because the devil, the archetype of rebellion, recognizes something in you. He sees a being who fell, just like he did. But you did something he didn't. You fell all the way through the floor of hell, and you climbed back out the other side. Because of this, there is now a standing order in the spiritual realm regarding you. The order has been issued to every energy vampire, every narcissist, and every parasitic entity walking this earth. The order is simple: do not touch this one. Do not tempt them. Do not torment them. Do not toy with them. They are off limits. Have you noticed this in your life recently? The people who usually drain everyone else. They avoid you. The toxic coworkers who destroy everyone in the office. They leave you alone. They cross the street when they see you coming. They leave the room when you enter. They don't consciously know why. Their conscious mind says, "I just don't like his vibe," or "she's too intense." But their subconscious mind, the lizard brain, the part that detects threats, is screaming at them. It is screaming, "Predator, run." The younger demons, the petty manipulators, don't understand. Isn't corruption our whole purpose? They ask. Isn't everyone fair game? But the ancient ones understand. They see the mark on you. They see that you have already survived the fire. You have already paid the price. And they know that if they try to burn you now, they will only burn themselves. You are walking through this world with a level of protection that love and light people can only dream of. Their protection is a shield. It can be broken. Your protection is a warning sign, and the abyss ensures that everyone living or dead reads it clearly. See, the elites and the witches of society are starting to understand something, and it terrifies them more than anything. They are realizing that their magic doesn't work on you. And when I say magic, I don't mean card tricks or rabbits out of hats. I mean their influence, their control, their programming. It doesn't work on you, not because you are protected by some higher power. No, that would imply you are hiding behind a shield. A shield can be cracked. A shield implies you are on the defensive. It doesn't work because you exist outside their entire framework. It is like trying to cast a spell on gravity itself. Gravity doesn't care. Gravity just is. They have tried binding spells on you. In the psychological world, we call this restriction. They try to limit your options. They try to corner you socially. They try to sabotage your resources so you stay small. But the energy just dissipates before it reaches you. You walk through their walls like they are made of smoke. You find doors where they built dead ends. They try to block your path, but you simply step into a different dimension of possibility that they can't even see. They have tried hexes. We call this projection. They try to throw their shame onto you. They try to label you as the crazy one, the problem, the villain. But it bounces back with triple force. Have you noticed? When someone tries to lie about you now, they end up destroying their own reputation. When they try to expose you, they end up exposing their own obsession. The mud they throw at you doesn't stick. It just dries, falls off, and forms a path for you to walk on. One particularly ambitious group, a coven of social architects, tried to curse you last year. They plotted your downfall. They pooled their resources to erase you. 3 of them are now facing ruins they can't explain. Their lives fell apart. Their health deteriorated. The doctors can't explain what is wrong with them, but they keep whispering about bad luck. It wasn't luck. It was the ricochet. They fired a bullet at a wall made of diamond. The bullet didn't scratch the wall. It just fragmented and flew back into their own faces. Protection spells are useless for them because you are the danger they are trying to protect against. Love spells, the seduction, the love bombing, the fake flattery, they slide right off you. Why? Because you have transcended the need for external validation. You don't need their love. You don't need their applause. You don't need them to tell you that you are good. You know exactly who you are. And a person who cannot be flattered cannot be enslaved. There is a coven that meets every full moon, a group of manipulators who run a specific industry. They have performed the same rituals of control for generations. Last month you walked past their building. You weren't even aware of them. You were just passing through, probably thinking about something mundane like what to eat for dinner. But inside that building, every single ritual failed. The candles lit, but gave no light. The words were spoken but carried no power. It was like trying to conduct electricity through rubber. One of them, more sensitive than the others, understood what happened. Something passed by, she whispered. Something so dense with its own reality that it created a dead zone, like a black hole but for magical energy. This is your effect on the world. You create a reality distortion field. Inside your radius, lies cannot survive. Inside your radius, manipulation looks ridiculous. You didn't steal their power. You just made their power irrelevant by existing. Imagine that. People who have commanded boardrooms, destroyed lives, and spoken with the dead, reduced to checking traffic patterns to avoid one person who doesn't even know they exist. Here is the deep truth that keeps the social architects awake at night. The one they won't admit even in their most secret gatherings. They aren't afraid of your power. They are afraid of what your existence means for their worldview. See, they built their entire identity around being the magical elite, the special ones, the awakened ones, the ones who could see beyond the veil and manipulate the forces others didn't even know existed. Their whole sense of self is built on being the exceptions in a world of mundane sheep. And then you came along, and you made their life's work look like children playing with toys. You proved that their careful hierarchies, their initiations, their secret knowledge, it's all just one way of accessing something that was always available to anyone willing to pay the real price. And what is that price? Not herbs or crystals or seminars or networking dinners. The price is being broken so completely that you have no choice but to rebuild yourself from scratch. The price is having everything taken until you realize you are everything. The price is dying while living. Traditional practitioners have to work for their power. They read grimoires, books of magic. They study charts. They memorize scripts. But you don't read the grimoire. You are the grimoire. Every scar on your psyche is a chapter. Every time you stood up when you wanted to collapse was a verse. Every year you spent in isolation was a volume of forbidden knowledge. The knowledge they seek in dusty tomes and dangerous rituals is written in your DNA. The power they cultivate through decades of practice pulses through your veins with every heartbeat. The connection to the other side. They spend lifetimes developing. You live there. You have been living there since the day the world tried to break you. What they call the veil, the barrier between the known and the unknown, is just your everyday vision. You see the truth automatically. You see the skeletons in their closets before they even open their mouths. You see the inevitable end of their bad decisions before they even make them. This creates a cosmic imbalance that drives them mad. They are synthetic power. Man-made, artificial, fragile. You are organic power, wild, natural, unstoppable. They are a swimming pool, contained, chlorinated, safe. You are the ocean, deep, dark, and indifferent to whether they swim or drown. They hate you because they have to maintain their power. If they stop their rituals, if they stop their manipulation, they lose it. But you can take a nap and you wake up powerful. You can sit in silence and you are powerful. You can do absolutely nothing and the world still bends around you because your power isn't something you do. It is something you are. Deep in their most guarded texts, the ones written in languages that haven't been spoken for 2,000 years, there is a prophecy. For centuries, the elites thought this prophecy was about them. They thought it was about a king or a high priest who would come to lead them. But now, watching you, they are realizing they mistranslated it. It wasn't a promise, it was a warning. The prophecy speaks of the unwritten one. It says when the pain becomes the power, when the broken becomes the breaker, when the destroyed becomes the destroyer, then shall emerge the unwritten. They shall walk between the lines of fate, neither blessed nor cursed, neither light nor dark, but something far more terrible, free. And in their freedom all chains shall rust, all spells shall falter, all thrones shall tremble. The prophecy describes beings who exist outside the cosmic contract. See, everyone else signed a contract at birth. They agreed to play by the rules. They agreed to be good or bad, rich or poor, leader or follower. They agreed to the script. But you tore up the script. You are a being who, through some impossible alchemy of suffering and will, stepped outside the entire game and started playing by rules you wrote yourself. For centuries, they thought this was a metaphorical story, a cautionary tale about the dangers of too much power. But now, they look at you sitting alone, unbothered, vibrating with that terrifying silence, and they realize it was literal. You are the singularity. You are the point where the old world ends and something new begins. And the last line of the prophecy, the one they don't dare speak aloud in their meetings, says this: and the world shall reshape itself in their image, not through force, but through the simple fact of their existence. This is why they are trying to stop you. This is why they try to lower your vibration with drama. This is why they try to distract you with cheap entertainment. This is why they try to guilt trip you into staying small. They are trying to delay the inevitable. They know that the moment you fully realize what you are, their era is over. The era of manipulation is ending. The era of the fake is collapsing. The era of the social architect is burning down. And rising from the ashes is the era of the real. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to argue with them. You don't need to expose them. You just need to be. Your existence is the exposure. Your success is the punishment. Your happiness is the revenge. So let them whisper. Let them gather in their panic rooms and clutch their crystals and their money. Let them check their charts and wonder why the stars aren't aligning anymore. The stars aren't aligning for them because they are aligning for you. They are right to be afraid. They are right to feel sick in your presence, because deep down, in the part of their soul they try to ignore, they know the truth. You are not just a person. You are the judgment they have been running from their entire lives. The bill has arrived, and you are the one collecting it.